Social structures. Cross-culturally, as reviews have repeatedly shown, e.g. Ford and Beach, 1951, Greenberg, 1988, Murray, 2000, Werner, 2006, when male homosexual behavior has occurred in a society as an acceptable pattern, it has generally fallen into three basic forms. A. Age stratified, i.e. pederasty. B. Gender stratified, i.e. a masculine male with a transgendered male. And C. Egalitarian, usually between adolescent boys who give up the practice when they become adults. The pederastic and gender stratified forms have both frequently occurred cross-culturally and historically, with the former often being practiced society-wide, but the latter being restricted to much smaller numbers of individuals. Adam, 1985, Ford and Beach, 1951, Gregerson, 1983. Notably, the gay pattern, i.e. exclusively same-sex relations between relatively equal adults, a subtype of the egalitarian form, has been restricted to the modern West and is exceptional from a cross-cultural and historical perspective. E.g. Adam, 1985, Cardoso and Werner, 2004, Gregerson, 1983, Hurt, 1987, Werner, 2006. Crapo, 1995, and Murray, 2000, examined the moderating effects of social structure on the appearance of the different forms of homosexual behavior by conducting cross-cultural statistical analyses. Combining their results, they found that mentorship, i.e. pederastic societies, had greater sex role distinctions, greater adolescent sex segregation, greater tendency to consider virginity to be necessary for brides, less paternal effort in rearing the very young, less female political power, less occurrence of husbands and wives sleeping together, and more polygyny, limited to older and wealthier men. Crapo added that mentorships were commonly embedded in exclusively male settings, e.g. military, religious, where young males were initiated into the skills and symbolism of warfare, religion, politics, and male social dominance. According to Crapo, in mentorship societies, younger males needed the training offered by their elders to climb the male status ladder. Conversely, gender-stratified societies had greater equality between the sexes in political matters, in principal subsistence work, and in sex roles more generally, and were less likely to segregate adolescent males. Murray found that egalitarian systems were most likely where premarital sex was most permissible and fewer wealth distinctions existed. Crapo concluded that the social traits commonly associated with gender-stratified homosexuality were also present where homophilia, e.g. the gay pattern in the modern West, was found. In Western culture, the pederastic form dominated from classical times through the Renaissance, being openly and widely practiced early on, though more hidden and sporadic later, Greenberg, 1988. Sometime after the Renaissance, the homophilic or gay form began emerging as a significant pattern in the West. At the same time, the pederastic form lessened owing to the Industrial Revolution, which acted to create greater distance between the generations and thus to reduce older male, younger male social interactions, which beforehand had been extensive. Nevertheless, well into the 20th century, both forms, though derogated and criminalized, appeared in various underground contexts with regularity. For the former, see Rice, 1961, Rossman, 1976. By the 1970s, a series of major social structural changes set in, which helped to alter the trajectories of the pederastic and gay forms substantially, rendering the former even more deviant, but the latter relatively normal. These changes included most of the elements analyzed by Crapo in 1995 and Murray 2000. Tendencies towards sex segregation during adolescence began to disappear, virginity until marriage was no longer emphasized, sex role distinctions weakened considerably, women gained more significant political power, fathers exerted more child-rearing efforts, with young children, and all-male societies weakened and disappeared as men began spending free time mostly with female companions and nuclear family units rather than men's groups. C.F. Kuntz, 2006, Mackey, 1986, and 1990. These structural changes were all related to major advances in technology throughout the 20th century, increasingly reducing or eliminating the purely muscular nature of many male occupations, while opening up many occupations that were not physically demanding at all, e.g. white-collar, tertiary, service sector. These changes helped to erode sex role distinctions because women could do most of these jobs as well. Another technological advance, the invention of the pill in 1960, removed pregnancy as a major obstacle in women securing careers. Gibbs, 2010. It also helped usher in the sexual revolution, in which virginity lost its cultural importance. Cross-culturally, manhood has been valued to the extent that the social and physical environment is dangerous and physically demanding, as in warrior and big game hunting societies. Gilmore, 1990. With the significant reduction in brute strength male activities, however, manhood has weakened in our society as a cultural ideal or necessity, paving the way for women's gains in political power. Moreover, cross-culturally, males generally congregate with other males in all-male groups in cultures where brute strength male activities predominate, but associate mainly with women and nuclear families when these activities do not. Mackey, 1986. Increasingly, all-male groups have thinned out or disappeared in our culture with the advances in technology, and the genders mix much more regularly outside the workplace as well, such that former practices of sex segregation have all but vanished, and new practices such as fathers' greater involvement in child-rearing of young children have grown. In short, cross-cultural and sociological considerations provide an important means for attempting to understand trends and fluctuations in pederasty and homophilia. The supplanting of former dominant social structures with the current one has altered the practice and perception of both the pederastic and gay forms. As we shall show, associated changes in cultural ideologies have been important as well.